Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in our Welcome to Louisiana session today. My name is Hani, and I am the Education USA advisor at the Fulbright Commission in Prague. And today I've got a special guest, Julia, who is a Fulbright grantee and an English teaching assistant in Chotěbuš. Hello, Julia. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us. Hi. So, guys, today we're going to take you to Louisiana, and the floor is yours.
Great. Hi everybody. Welcome to Louisiana. I went to college in New Orleans, which is the biggest city in Louisiana, so I'm very excited to welcome you.
Mhm.
So Louisiana is all the way in the south of America, the deep south, the Gulf South on the Gulf of Mexico. So it's really warm there all the time, and there's lots of interesting wildlife and nature. It's very swampy, which is kind of fun. People
Mhm.
call Louisiana the boot sometimes because they say it looks like a boot. I don't
Almost like
know,
a
but
broken boot, right?
yeah, it does, I guess. But yeah, Louisiana, the boot of the nation. So Louisiana broadly has a lot of culture. I'm from New York, and so going to Louisiana, it felt like another country, not like the Czech Republic to Louisiana, but definitely a whole new world. It was a French colony and then a Spanish colony, and so there's a lot of French and Spanish influence in the whole state, really, especially southern Louisiana. It has a deep Southern heritage and history, which is really different coming from New York. But I'm really grateful that I got to experience something so new and be totally immersed in it, which was really cool. Louisiana is, I think I read somewhere, it's like 80% rural. Um, so there's the major cities. There's New Orleans, which is like a big national city, and there's Baton Rouge, which is the capital, also a really big city. And aside from that, it's a lot of swamps, farms, stuff like that. Um, so it's really warm. Everything is outside. They try to stay outside for as long as possible, do as much outside as possible, which is really nice. Um, Jazz music is from New Orleans, and so kind of South Louisiana, you'll hear jazz everywhere, which is super fun. And then it's really well known for like Creole and Cajun food. Creole food is kind of like French, Spanish, and West African, kind of like all mixed together. And Cajun is the same thing plus like Acadian. So like Northeast United States, Canada area. And a fun fact is that Louisiana has the most alligators out of any state, not Florida. So that's always fun. So
That's
yeah.
really interesting. What made you go to Louisiana? Because you said that you were from New York. What was that kind of process of you moving down south?
My process was crazy. I actually, because of the scholarship opportunities, and I know you talk about that with a lot of Czech students, Tulane gives a lot of scholarships for academic merit. So if you have good grades, they give a lot of scholarships. And I got one of those. So I decided that I would just go down there randomly for my first year, my freshman year, save some money, and then transfer back up north, closer to home. So I didn't really even consider it seriously as a long-term option. But then I got there and I totally fell in love in every way. Like I love the South. I love New Orleans. I loved Tulane so much. I love Tulane currently. So I decided to stay. But yeah,
That's really cool. Interesting. Okay.
yeah. So Tulane, I went to Tulane University. So that's up first. Roll Wave. Our mascot is the angry waves. So I don't know how intimidating it is, but that's our mascot. Um, Tulane is in New Orleans. It's in the center of the city, so that's really nice. It's really accessible. It was founded as a medical school in 1834, but soon shifted and got different sponsors to create a liberal arts school and a women's school, and then all came together to be Tulane University. It's got 8,500 undergrads and 14 and a half-ish thousand total students. So some grad students there too. I would consider Tulane kind of a mid-sized school. It's not as small as some of those Northeast small colleges where you know everybody, but it's not
Mhm.
a huge state school. So that was a really good balance for me, where I knew a lot of people, but there were always more people to meet.
Mhm.
So that
Mhm.
was nice. And there were 1,300-ish, I'm sure you see, international students. So that was also really cool to meet different people from around the world. Tulane is also they call it like a flight school because there are
Mhm.
a lot of students from everywhere in the country. So
Mhm.
my roommates, I had 8 roommates by the end of college, and we were from New York and California and Chicago and Maryland and kind of all over. So it was
Mhm.
cool to experience the South and also meet people from everywhere.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
it has a 10% acceptance rate. Fun fact.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The academics at Tulane were probably one of my favorite parts of Tulane. You can really study anything, I think.
Mhm.
And so there's 5 different undergraduate colleges, and that doesn't mean that you have to take only classes from those colleges. It's really popular to double major, triple major, whatever, and study a lot of different things if you want. So you can just have one major, take your classes and do
Mhm.
that, or you can have 6 different majors if you really wanted to, or you can have
What was
one
your
major.
case?
Sorry?
What was your case? What did you do in Tulane?
I triple majored in history, philosophy, and English, and I double minored in political science and religion. So that was a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Mhm.
But a lot of people will choose to do one major that's like they'll do like mechanical engineering, but then they'll take a
Mhm.
dance class and an anthropology class and a computer science class. And so
Mhm.
that's very possible. There are a lot of +1 graduate programs. So if you do a 4-year or 3-year, if you complete your course in history, for example, you can just do a master's in 1 year at
Mhm.
Tulane in history also. So
Mhm.
I didn't do that, but a lot of my friends did, and that was a cool opportunity. And
That's
yeah,
nice.
there's a lot of research.
Mhm.
And every student has to do a certain amount of hours of community service. So that
Mhm.
could be class, um, with one of your classes, with your major. You could take a just totally separate community service class.
Mhm.
And I think they have us do that to serve the community that serves us as students from all over the country.
Mhm.
And it was also a great way to learn about the community. So my community service was I was an English teacher at an all French elementary school. So I taught them English, even though they were growing up speaking only French.
Mhm.
So that was kind of cool. And then there were a lot of other different trips that you do. So you could help clean up a park or
Mhm.
pick up litter on the street or something like
Mhm.
that. So that was definitely a cool opportunity.
That's very nice. It's very nice. Like a little bit of volunteering job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I also want to say Tulane is really well known for their public health program. They
Mhm.
have really strong programs in everything and architecture and business and all of that. But the public
Mhm.
health and tropical medicine school is really unique,
Mhm.
especially being in the Gulf South. So if someone's interested in public health or tropical medicine, definitely look into Tulane. So
Very good. Okay. Mhm. Tropical medicine. All right.
I don't know, but student life is thorough at Tulane.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've recently become a football school, which is kind of exciting.
Mhm.
So we have a Division 1 football team, which is cool. We have tailgates. The games are fun, everything like that. Uh, they're going to a bowl game this year, which is a big deal for
Mhm.
American dads everywhere. Um, there's a lot of professional societies. So I was in PAD, which is a pre-law
Mhm.
society, and there's like resume workshops and opportunities to network with lawyers in New Orleans and different
Mhm.
law schools, maybe. And then there's also social activities. So you'll get like a partner who's just someone older that's in the society, which is really cool. Um, and then we have Greek life, of course.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
was in Greek life at Tulane. I was pretty active in my sorority. I really liked it. I liked the balance. You don't live in your sorority house, so it's not as all-inclusive. It doesn't take over your life, but it's definitely there. And a lot of students are involved in Greek life, if you want to be. And then a lot of people aren't, and that's totally fine too. So that was great about Tulane. There's a lot of clubs. You can be in the dance club, the theater club, mock trial, whatever. And then in addition to being Division I, like varsity sports, we also had club sports, which you can try out for, and then intramural sports, which you can just sign up for with your friends. And we had everything, but some of the more interesting ones were our Quidditch team was like really good. And our women's rugby team was like championship winning something. So
Wow.
yeah.
It's like, were you a part of the Quidditch team?
No, I was not. I was a part of the club soccer team, and one of the girls on soccer was also on the Quidditch team. So we would support her, and yeah.
Very cool. Okay.
So Tulane is in New Orleans, which is my favorite city in America. As someone from New York City, I feel like that means something. It's warm. There's a lot of nightlife that I think is kind of unique, with the jazz music. It's a food capital for sure. And some special events that are unique to New Orleans. We have Mardi Gras, of course, which is like a 5-day festival with parades, and it's definitely a big party, but it's also really cultural and historic and really interesting to even take classes on at Tulane, which you can. You have Jazz Fest, which is like a national jazz festival.
Is the Mardi Gras festival associated with the fact that it was a French colony, or?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. The oldest New Orleans style Mardi Gras actually comes from Mobile, Alabama, which is a small town in Alabama. But I think it was really brought to life, and New Orleans kind of made it its own. I'm sure the Mardi Gras like pre-Lent party comes from being a French colony. I'm not really sure. But yeah, very cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's Tulane. I love Tulane with my whole heart. I think it was a great place for me, for a lot of my friends. So yeah, fully endorse it. The biggest university in Louisiana is LSU, Louisiana State University, and it's kind of like the powerhouse of the state. LSU, Louisiana is Tiger Country because LSU's mascot is Mike the Tiger. That's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is the capital. It's also a flagship university. So there's the LSU system. There's Louisiana State University at Lafayette, at Alexandria, a bunch of different colleges that are all under this umbrella of LSU. But the main university and the biggest one is in Baton Rouge, and that's just LSU. It was founded as an all-male military school, but then it moved to Baton Rouge later on. And LSU is definitely a big state school. So it's like more than triple the size of Tulane. But there's still about the same amount of international students. So it's a smaller ratio of international students, but they're definitely there. Yeah, LSU, everyone that goes to school in Louisiana, Tulane, wherever you go, you've been to LSU, you know somebody from LSU. It's definitely a huge school. It's a huge research university. So if you're interested in studying the history of Louisiana or the history of the South, you're definitely going to engage with LSU at some point.
And you said that it's a flagship university, meaning that if you want to apply to this different LSU in Lafayette or the other LSUs, it has got different application process, or do you apply to LSU in general and then you just choose a different location?
I'm not exactly sure. Every state has a different flagship state school system. So I applied to state schools in New York when I was applying to college, and how that process works, and I'm pretty sure that's how it works in most states, is you apply to the schools individually.
Mm-hmm.
So you still apply through the Common App and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
they would be separate schools. You don't apply to
Okay.
LSU and they tell you which one to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in state, so I'm a New York State resident, it's free to apply and your tuition is much lower. So I
Mm-hmm.
assume it would be the same at LSU. I'm pretty sure you definitely don't, it's definitely you apply to different schools, but they're all kind
Okay.
of connected and it's easy to cooperate and transfer between them. So yeah,
Cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
yeah. Um, LSU is huge. It has 10 undergraduate colleges where you can earn bachelor's degrees. So agriculture, art, business. They have the Coast and Environment School,
Mm-hmm.
which also kind of takes advantage of that Gulf South really unique positioning in the United States. Um, Engineering, human sciences and education, humanities, communication. Their communication school is really kind of a powerhouse in the state. Um, Tulane actually connected me to work for a local news
Mm-hmm.
organization in New Orleans, which was really great. And everybody
Mm-hmm.
else there had gone to the LSU communication school. So I really enjoyed my experience there and I definitely felt prepared by Tulane, but the mass communication school at LSU is definitely a powerhouse. And then music and arts, science, and there's 330 degree programs, so majors and minors. So you can really study
Absolutely.
whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're graduate school, they have graduate programs, they have medical school, all of that. And then they also have master's and PhD programs that you can
Mm-hmm.
apply to while you're an undergraduate. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool. Student life at LSU is famous, if not infamous. Their football culture is insane. I have been to one LSU football game, and it was one of the craziest experiences of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they've consistently been a top ranked football team, and so that leads to a lot of fanfare. Your week is kind of centered around the game. Louisiana is Tiger Country, and you can be in Greek life, you won't be in Greek life, whatever. Everybody kind of is invested in LSU football, which is kind of brings the campus together as far as I can
Mm-hmm.
tell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Greek life is also different at LSU. It's huge. And when you're in Greek life at LSU, you live in the house. The chapters are a lot bigger. So there's Greek life at Tulane and LSU, but it's definitely a very different experience. But it's
Mm-hmm.
very present in the school culture. And of course, they have everything. They have club sports, intramural sports, clubs. One of a club that I have a friend who transferred from Tulane to LSU to be closer to her family, and she joined the bird enthusiast club, which I think is kind of fun.
Uh-huh.
Um, but they really have everything at LSU, and that's definitely a benefit of going to a bigger school is there's a club for
The
everyone.
choices. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's LSU. And you can see in the photo it says go, spelled GEAUX.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of at every Louisiana school, we have a little bit of that French, Cajun, Creole influence over
Mm-hmm.
the pep rallies and the football games and all of that. So it's an interesting little Louisiana twist.
That's cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the third college here is Baton Rouge Community College. It's the largest community college in Louisiana. It's also in Baton Rouge, where LSU is. It was founded pretty recently, and it has 6,673 undergraduate students. So it's not actually that much smaller than Tulane, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have dorms on campus or Greek life or a lot. It has very few clubs, and so the
Mm-hmm.
experience is definitely a little bit different, even though the size is similar. And they have an open admissions policy, so if you want to go, you get to go.
Mm-hmm.
They have 53 degree programs in 17 different fields. And you cannot get a bachelor's degree from Baton Rouge Community College, but you can get a certificate or an associate's degree. And about 50% of the students, give or take, use the community college experience to kind of get their foot in the door in terms of college and then transfer to a full 4-year university where you can get a bachelor's degree. And that's really popular at community colleges all around the country. A lot of students will transfer and kind of get their feet wet when it comes to college. And then some people will graduate with associate's degree or certificates and be prepared to enter the workforce, usually in some sort of trade or maybe medical field, like a PA or a nurse or something like that.
So Julia, do you happen to know if there is a smooth transfer between the community college and maybe LSU?
I'm not exactly sure, but I have to imagine that it's very, very popular given the in-state opportunities. LSU does take a lot of transfer students. As a big state school, it definitely takes a lot of transfer students. So I have to imagine that that's a popular option, but I'm not 100% sure.
We can double check, if students are interested.
Yeah. And Tulane also takes a lot of transfer students, some from Baton Rouge Community College and some from other community colleges, and sometimes from other LSU satellite schools. So not necessarily LSU, the main flagship school, but part of the other schools in the Louisiana state system will oftentimes transfer to Tulane or to another school in the area that maybe they think will be more academically rigorous, for example, or just a smaller school that's a better fit for them. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you so much for introducing the 3 colleges, universities. You guys who are watching, if you're interested and you have any additional questions, feel free to send me an email or just type your question underneath the live stream. And Julia, thank you so much for introducing Louisiana to us. And you guys have a great day. Bye.